hot. But our guys continue to work. I thought we had a good tempo today. And we got tired quick. It was hot up there. It was temperature up, and we did about 3/4 of it outside. The last part we came in. We were able to get some wet ball work for the potential rain up there, and quarterbacks and receivers having to handle a wet ball. And I thought that was good. Guys continue to work hard. With that, I'll open it up.
You said yesterday about Drew Lock getting one of the quicker releases you've seen. Is he compared to anybody you off the top of your head in that regard?
You know, I hate to compare guys like that. I mean, his arm strength, and I mean, it's Stafford-like. I mean, he's got a Cutler. I mean, those are the guys that I've had to coach against that were elite arm talent like him. He's a really good athlete as well, so it's one of the better ones. It's hard to compare him to somebody because he's a league of his own.
You talked about the Missouri run game. Can you elaborate a little bit more on why and how they've been successful this season on the ground?
Yeah, they've been more committed to it. I mean, they're running more traditional run plays, and they still have a lot of the same run plays that all of America's running now, especially with fastball. I mean, they have similar run plays to what we have, but they run power, they run counter, they run a lot of plays that you got to be physical to run, and they're creating that brand of football. I think that's been a commitment to playing in the SEC. You got to be able to run the ball, and they've done that in the last 3 games, and their commitment to that allows them to get one-on-one matchups outside.
Coach, with Andrew's status up in the air, as you look at K. Mays and how he's worked so far, how would you gauge his confidence, I guess, going in there and taking on the starting role like that?
Cade's a very mature kid. He comes from a family that's raised him to be that way, to prepare hard, to work hard. He's a confident kid in high school. He likes competition, good athlete. So I mean, he's in a good place. I mean, it's probably the most difficult position to play in all of football as a freshman, maybe outside of quarterback. I mean, it's tough because there's some elite players in this league, and he's come in and taken the brunt of that pressure on his shoulders and done a good job with it. It's a tough position to play.
What's Andrew ever do today?
He was out there. He was able to do a little bit. He didn't do a lot of physical pushing work, but he was able to move around, be in pads, get the assignments, pick up on the mental aspect of the game, but he didn't take a lot of what I would call live reps. I mean, he didn't do a lot.
Coach, what have you seen from Richard LeCount in terms of progress, and what kind of a challenge is this for safeties in particular when you get this kind of game?
You know, Richard's been, he played a really good game against South Carolina. He played an okay game last week. He continues to grow. I think he's gaining confidence in the system. Our defense requires a lot of calls for the safeties to make, and he's gotten command of that better. I see him in here a lot, meeting and watching tape, and he's growing up. So that's what we need for this defense to function smoothly. Is the communication skills between the linebacker, safeties, and corners have to be a really good triangle, and he's filling that triangle out much better. So I'm pleased with him.
What's the thought behind Kieris getting some reps at running back like he did against?
He's just a good athlete. I mean, it's no different than handing the ball off to Demetrius Robertson, Miko, Tyler Simmons, touches. I mean, that's really it. I mean, you want your playmakers to touch the ball. We think he's a good player.
In regard to Brenton Cox, I mean, how important has he been when he's coming on these third down plays for y'all? Just how has he developed, I guess, kind of the same question with Dan and group and everything. I know that you're over there a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, Brenton has grown and progressed. I mean, he probably hasn't shown up in games as much as he has in practice. I just don't think he hadn't had many opportunities to get out there and flash and do what I think he can do. He's played really hard. He's played physical. He's very conscientious about his assignments and learning those. Brenton just has to continue to grow up and mature. I'm hoping that a lot of these freshmen who've played 3 games now can start to have a little confidence where they get over the butterflies and the anxiety so that they can go play. And he's getting better with each and every game, but he's a competitor.
Will you bring up the game there 2 years ago? I mean, I know every year is different and it's one game at a time, but is that something that you remind the guys of the last trip to Missouri, how tight it was? No?
I mean, I don't think so. I thought, I mean, last year's game, they scored on us. They got really hot 2 or 3 times. I mean, it's a tough place to play. I've played there other times besides 2 years ago. They've got a great environment there. Their fan base is very passionate. But I don't think this game had anything to do with the one 2 years ago. Not a lot of the same names and faces are present.
Did it seem like Justin Fields kind of almost a little relief, get in the end zone, see some extended action, have some good things happen? Does it feel like he's kind of settling into his role and everything here?
I don't know if relieved is the right word. I mean, he's a pretty calm kid. He's a calm character. I mean, he doesn't get real anxious about things, and he's excited. And, he likes to celebrate when he does well, or when each time somebody else has scored, he runs down there and celebrates with them. But I definitely think he gets into a rhythm when he plays, the more he gets to play. But I don't know that relieved after the touchdown. I didn't really see it that way.
Kirby, you had a running back transfer your first, spring at Georgia with Elijah. Did you ever have to tell him, hey, your time will come, just, keep doing what you're doing? Because obviously you had some talented guys ahead of him.
You're talking about, did I have to tell Elijah that? No. I mean, Elijah's been a contributor since he's been here, in my mind. I mean, he's one play away all the time. He worked hard. He competed. I mean, he didn't show frustration. A lot of times, frustration stunts growth. So when you have a young player that's frustrated, it stunts their growth. And all we're trying to do is grow young players. So you have to talk to them and spend time with them mentally to explain that frustration doesn't allow you to grow. You got to get better in order to be successful, and that's what the goal is. Those backs that have been here, they've all for years kind of waited their turn, and some have had success early, sure, but he's been patient. He's been good.
You've talked about it in preseason camp. A lot of other coaches talk about the wall that some of these freshmen hit. Is there ever a point in the season where they also have to kind of push through a little bit of a wall?
Oh, yeah. I mean, some of these kids got daily walls. I mean, every day it's a struggle because the focus and concentration, the intensity of practice. I mean, there's a lot of high school practices that aren't like ours from a standpoint of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the intensity, the amount of pressure you put on a kid to make decisions and make calls. They're not used to that. We have a high tempo practice. So a lot of these kids struggle with it, and you hope they acclimate, and the older players on the team have to bring the younger players along because a lot of the older players weren't used to it their first year.
And how does I think you guys played it may have been more than that with walk-ons, but including Matthew Down, played 19 freshmen against Middle Tennessee State, true freshmen. How does playing that many guys maybe help with that and help with the recruiting?
Help with what, hitting the wall?
Yeah,
Well,
keeping them in it.
anytime you get to play, it gives you the motivation to have more success. But we have to grow these young players up in practice because they're getting way more reps in practice than they're getting in games. And the only way to do that is get them to grow in practice, get them to buy into it. And we've tried to do that.
What's the challenge with Jordan Davis right now? See someone maybe down the road can help a little bit more on the defensive line.
We're hoping that. We hope he can begin to take on a better role. He's one of those players that we feel like is getting better. And if he can continue to get better and grow and go against Lamont every day and work on the scout team and develop, that before this year's over, he can contribute, or somebody gets hurt, he'll be ready to play. So we're certainly approaching it like he can help us.
Is there one specific challenge he has to meet in your eyes to be able to do that?
Sustain. You just got to be able to sustain longer.
Where's the linebacker committee? Is that an evolution, or do you have a pretty good idea how you want it to be and guys are growing into it, or are things changing? Are you trying different change up and packages with those guys?
No, there's 4 guys who've played consistently. I mean, if there was a dominant player, he would play more. And Juwan's the guy that's probably playing the most. And Nate Trez is playing more and more, trying to bring Channing along. Bonnie played good the last game. Tay's got to continue to improve and help us. But, I mean, those guys are by committee. That's what they are. I don't know if y'all keep wanting to make it out to be more than it is. It's just 4 or 5 guys that are kind of in the same area. And if we can have fresh guys out there and they play well, we're going to do it. If one of them's not playing to the standard, then he won't play.
You made a reference to sloppy substitutions defensively. What can you elaborate on what that was?
Yeah, just not having the right people on the field. I mean, we came out of a timeout and had 10 men on the field. It's not usually a good sign when you do that. But it was some confusion between what they were in, and a lot of you guys don't know what goes into what the other team's in. So it's sometimes we don't get the right information and we don't make the right decisions. But you can't, as a coach, ever excuse out of 10 people on the field, more or less, when you come up out. I've seen that cost people games, and that's not something we should have. But there were other substitution errors as well, so it just makes it tough, and we got to do a better job of it.
It's been a while, but you mentioned a core group of defensive linemen back in camp with Ledbetter and Tyler and Jay Hayes. You feel like you got any more guys that maybe have stepped up maybe into that group, into that core group?
No, the core group's the core group. It's just a lot bigger than what you said. I mean, it's 7, 8 guys.
Right.
David Marshall, Michael Barnett, Mikael Carter, Daquan, Rick Herring. I mean, it's all of them. They all play. They all have a role. And again, I think playing a lot of players is good for morale. I think playing a lot of players keeps you fresh, as long as they're playing good. And one guy can't outplay the other guy, because if he can, he needs to be on the field.
And your offensive line, what is the challenge in going up against the Terry background of defensive line?
Big man. He's a big physical man. Seems like he's been there forever. He's hard to move, really, really physical. And you know, our guys in the SEC, you go against one like that probably every week. So it's really challenging when you go against those kind of guys. But that's the challenge. I mean, that's what you come to play the game for, to go against the best guys.
Having someone like Quavo in practice seems like it could be a little distracting, but what kind of positive impact is having someone, you know, with that kind of notoriety in practice give?
I don't look at it as a distraction. I mean, if anything, our kids practice harder. You know, they want to impress him. A lot of the guys enjoy listening to his music, and I thought we had a lot more pep in our step, but it wasn't a distraction because he was out there watching. He's a football fan. He played football, so I don't look at it as a distraction.
A little bit of an odd question. Have you guys used this virtual reality training for your quarterbacks at all? Has that come y'all's way? Or you
We've looked into it. We have not purchased it as of yet. We explored it 2 years ago. Again, last year. We've looked into it each year. I think it has a lot of good things to it. Coley and Jim have met with people on it. We just haven't made the decision to purchase it, just trying to make sure that we'll get our value and return on it if we were to purchase it, but we have explored it.
How do your scout team quarterbacks do on the deep ball when you're getting ready for lock? And do you do much one-on-one to kind of simulate that?
What do you mean? How they throw the deep ball?
Yeah.
They throw it pretty good. I mean, they got a couple guys with good arms down there, and we do a lot more of it in drill work because Bakari Rambo, RGA's got an extremely good arm. He's a high school quarterback, so he can throw it out of the stadium, and he does it with our DBs a lot, so he does a good job. But the scout team guys throw the ball good too. They do a good job working with it.
Do you work on it more this week, or do you?
Yeah, they're a vertical passing team. We've tried to emphasize it. We've done a drill every day at the end of practice to emphasize long balls. We've done more back shoulders. We've done a lot of work because they're a good passing team altogether, but they're a vertical passing team.
What is Mark Christensen mean to you all as a team?
He's the heart and soul, the fire. He's motivation for the guys every day. I think you can ask the guys that have been injured or in the training room, they love to see Mark in there because Mark never has a frown on his face. He's always in a good mood and always fired up. You know, he spends a lot of time in the quarterback room. I go in the quarterback meetings a lot of times to sit in there and kind of hear what's going on, and I've learned Mark's got all the answers. So Mark can tell you where every ball should go. He's been in a lot of quarterback meetings, but he's a great kid.
Kirby, how's Terry doing?
Terry Godwin, he seems good. He had a good practice today. He's out there moving around and everything. He had a bruise from the game, but it didn't limit him much today that I saw.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.